Who knows the old story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin? Here's the crowning bit of creepiness on this already creepy story. There's reason to believe it's true. There's an inscription found on a wall in Hamelin. This wall was built in 1556, 272 years after the magician stole 130 children away.
What?
Yeah. There is a real wall in a real town called Hamelin where that is inscribed in Old German. 1284, something happened that either stole or killed 130 children. Some scholars have claimed that they use the word magician as a nice little euphemism for really 130 children were killed off by the plague or by poisoned wheat or something. Some claim it was a cult leader. Some claim it was a slaver. Some claim that there really was a piper. Now, one child was left behind. A crippled boy who could not keep up. They found him in the middle of the mountains, sobbing. Why didn't they take me with them? Why didn't they just wait for me? It's been 4 days since the other children left me behind. Father Werner asked me if I would write down exactly what happened. And someday someone might want to know. They might need to know, lest it ever happen again. As we left the city walls and set out across the fields towards the mountain woods, the song in my head disappeared, and in its place, a landscape filled my heart. Sunlight, green trees and sweet flowers, fireflies in the shade, honey dripping from the trees and warm summer air, games and toadstools and magic, real magic. A land older than time, where we would stay young forever. This was where we were going.
That kind of trance, and he doesn't really
Obsession.
understand. He doesn't really understand reason that this was
Obsession.
not what you think it is. This is all a trick, and that is fake.
Yeah, he doesn't understand that. He doesn't know. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't care.
Okay.
Good job. Yes?
So in the beginning of the book, he included a quote from Jim Barrie's book, Peter and Wendy, and it
Yep.
talks about Neverland.
Indeed.
So I wonder if it actually is Neverland, but I'm not really sure.
So the land that these children go to is not the same Neverland from that book, but there's a lot that's been inspired about it. It's my own take on a magical land where kids never grow up, where things seem great until the sun goes down. The sun goes down rarely. It's a land of eternal summer, so they think. But every once in a while, the sun goes down and winter shows up for one night. And that's a night you want to be inside.
It's confusing that he wants to go with them instead of going back to town. It's like a pros and cons. Like, it's a bad thing going back to town, it's a good thing.
I know.
Yeah,
I'd
living in
be
summer,
so,
it's the perfect
like,
world, and then
Perfect.
because of your body, you can't make it because you're crippled or you can't get there in time.
Yeah.
And all of your friends are there and everyone you know.
Not only that, remember, this is not 2016. This is the Middle Ages where you might not live to see 13 because you might die the bubonic plague tomorrow. Where if you do live, hey, guess what? You've got backbreaking labor from dawn to dusk. You will live, be born a peasant, you will die a peasant. Life is not sunbeams and rainbows and lollipops coming out of unicorn butts, okay? That's what this
greatness.
world promises to be. Grandmother says all we can do now is pray. And that I must stay inside tonight. And tomorrow, too. People are overcome with grief. And if they see that I am still here, they will not understand why only 130 children were taken. Why not 131? What might happen, do you think, if people found out that he was left behind? Olivia.
Well, they would probably get really, really upset because he was a crippled boy. They don't know why they were taken. They didn't know that he was the one who couldn't keep up. They just thought that they took the children just for no... They just thought that the guy took the children as pendants, but he left behind a boy who's no use anyway, and it's sort of like a curse. sort of.
Witch's boy, it's always the wrong one.
Nice reference to a previous piece of literature.
Well, they might get a little too jealous
And
do something to the boy, maybe.
And do something to the grandma because she's the only one that has a child left. Also, you're still here? Yeah, you should start hiding. Because you're going to be instantly assumed he must have some connection because he was not taken.
people, when they're grieving that much, they don't act rationally or fairly sometimes. Max is almost 13, Carter's about 10. They're American, but they're in Germany for the summer because of Daddy's research. Dad is a folklorist. Yeah, that's right. There are a lucky few people out there whose job is to research mythology and folklore
How do I get it?
and fairy
Sounds
tales.
awesome.
I know. We're all thinking,
You get paid
where do we sign up? Once there was a girl called Max who had pink hair. According to the label on the dye bottle, the hair color was actually rosa. Their housekeeper, Mrs. Amsel, comes in. "Mein Gott!" said Mrs. Amsel in her heavily accented English. "This was on purpose?" She poked one finger up at Max's hair. "Well, I don't think it was a big deal," said Max, just like a carefree girl would. Carefree. Why would somebody want to be carefree? What would this say about them?
They're feeling a lot of stress and they don't like the stress.
Right. So they're going to control something. Well, I can control my own body. And your father? What did he say? Dad came home late and left early. They've done many trips as a family to this weird place and that weird place for Dad's job. They're cool with that. Here's what is different this year.
Mom's not there.
Poor Max, because that must really suck. Because also, she has your brother, so she's gotta also kind of take care of him. Even though she's not the housekeeper, she's gotta be like a big sister.
Yeah, and there's another thing. Carter has a leg brace.
It's a sign!
Dad's never around, and for the first time Mom isn't here. Max has reason to be angry. She senses something deeply wrong here. Now, what we're going to learn about Max is that Max may be annoying at times, but the girl's got good instincts. Max, twice that day, sees this weird guy whose face she can't see, but she can see his black boots and the tip of his black coat. And he just gives her a weird feeling as he stands in the shadows and watches them. And she sees rats near them. But whenever she tries to show anybody, oh, it's gone. So this happens twice that day. Yeah, be afraid, honey. And then later that day, they've come home after the play and seeing the tourist trap Hamlin. Carter goes to turn on the AC. And then they heard something else. A faint sound. But one that definitely didn't belong. Carter listened at the vent. The noise was coming from somewhere below, growing louder and louder, until the raindrops sounded like a hailstorm inside the walls. Carter put his face up to the vent and peered inside. What he saw caused him to cry out and tumble backward on his bad leg, barely dodging the air vent when it came bursting off the walls as hundreds, if not thousands, of beady eyes, filthy whiskers, and worm-like tails spilled from that dark tunnel. Rats pouring into the kitchen. So many rats. Everyone started screaming as the floor disappeared beneath the wave of rodents. Maxine had managed to put the coat stand between her and the growing tangle of scurrying bodies. And what was Carter supposed to do about all this? Then he saw what she was pointing at. The doorknob was just high enough to be beyond the reach of biting teeth. With a yell, Carter grabbed for the handle. Max stepped out of her hiding place to kick a path clear for him with the heavy, black boots she wore everywhere. Carter grabbed the knob and swung the door open wide. Like water escaping from a punctured tank, the rats poured out of the house. En masse, they streamed into the fading day, crossed the street and disappeared into the sewer grates. As his sister joined him in the doorway, Carter watched her look to the sewer grates where the rats had fled. Then over at the storefront where she'd seen the man earlier. He knew what she was thinking. It was empty now.